Hello everyone, my name is Vimala Venkatesan. Today, I'm going to be presenting System Analysis and Design, Agile versus Waterfall methodologies. In this presentation, I'll be going through Introduction to System Analysis and Design, SDLC, the System Development Lifecycle, Waterfall methodology, its advantages and disadvantages, Agile methodology, its advantages and disadvantages, and also the differences between waterfall methodology versus agile. And at the end, we will also look into which one to go with in our system development projects. So let's get into the details. System analysis and design deals with planning the development of information systems through understanding and specifying in detail what a system should do and how the components of the system should be implemented and work together. So when developing systems, most of the organizations use a standard of steps called the Systems Development Lifecycle, SDLC, as the common methodology for systems development. SDLC is a process for planning, creating, testing, and deploying an information system. It aims to produce high-quality systems that meet or exceed customer expectations. So this is achieved by delivering systems which move through each and every clearly defined phase and also within scheduled timeframes and cost estimates. As you can see from here, the phases are planning, analysis, design, development, implementation, and maintenance. So why do organizations have to go through all these? Computer systems are complex and often are integrated with multiple traditional systems supplied by different software vendors. So in an effort to improve the system's analysis and design processes, different approaches and methodologies have been developed. So a number of SDLC methodologies have been created to manage the complex computer systems. Some of them are Waterfall, Agile, Rapid Prototyping, Iterative and Incremental, Lean, Spiral, and DevOps. In the next few slides, we will look into Agile and Waterfall methodologies in detail. Waterfall methodology follows a sequential linear process and is the most popular version of the systems development lifecycle for software engineering and IT projects. So if you see the image here, progress is seen as flowing steadily downwards like a waterfall through the phases of software implementation. This means that any phase in the development process begins only if the previous phase is complete. And also, the waterfall approach doesn't define the process to go back to the previous phase to handle any changes in the requirement. It is the earliest approach and most widely known that was used for software development. At the completion of each and every phase, a milestone has been reached and a document is produced to be approved by the stakeholders before moving on to the next activity or phase. Let's look at advantages of waterfall methodology. Waterfall is best used for simple and unchanging projects. It's easy to use and manage. Because the waterfall model follows the same sequential pattern for each project, it is easy to use and understand. The team doesn't need any prior knowledge or training before working on a waterfall project. It is also a rigid model. Each phase has specific deliverables and review, so it's easy to manage and control. Discipline is enforced. Every phase in waterfall has a start and end point, and it's easy to share progress with stakeholders and customers. And also by focusing on requirements and design before writing code, the team can understand and reduce the risk of a missed deadline. It requires a well-documented approach. Waterfall requires documentation for every phase, resulting in better understanding of the logic behind the code and tests. It also leaves a paper trail for any future projects or if stakeholders need to see more detail about a certain phase. Disadvantages of waterfall methodology. Changes can't be easily accommodated. So once the team completes a phase, they can't go back. If they reach the testing phase and realize that the feature was missing from the requirements phase, it is very difficult and expensive to go back and fix it. Software isn't delivered until late. The project has to complete 2 to 4 phases before the coding actually begins. As a result, stakeholders won't see any working software until late in the life cycle. Gathering accurate requirements can be challenging. One of the first phases in a waterfall project is to talk to customers and stakeholders and identify their requirements. So, however, it can be difficult to pinpoint exactly what they want this early in the project. Oftentimes, customers don't know what exactly they want early on and instead learn and identify requirements as the project progresses. Let's look at what is Agile methodology. Agile is a time boxed, iterative approach to software delivery that builds software incrementally from the start of the project, instead of trying to deliver it all at once near the end. This is exactly opposite to the waterfall approach. Let's look at it in the next slide. In the waterfall approach, you go through each phase like define, build, release in a longer cycle. Only after all this is complete, the customer sees the final product. However, in Agile, it is time boxed. So you have shorter cycles and you keep adding features to every cycle. So the customer get to see the product at each and every cycle. How do we follow Agile methodology in our projects? Sit with the customer, make a list of features that customer want called user stories. So we basically break down the project into little bits of user functionality called user stories. Estimate the user story following the Agile estimation technique, prioritize them, and then continuously deliver them short 2 week cycles called iterations. So then, as you and your customer start delivering, one of the two things is going to happen. You'll discover that you're going fast enough, all is good, or you have too much to do and not enough time. So at this point, you have two choices. You can either do less and cut scope, which is recommended, or you can push out the date and ask for more money. So you update the plan as you go. Advantages of Agile. Changes embraced. Since it's shorter planning cycles, it's easy to accommodate and accept changes at any time during the project. There is always an opportunity to refine and reprioritize the backlog, letting teams introduce changes to the project in a matter of weeks. End goal can be unknown. Agile is very beneficial for projects where the end goal is not clearly defined. As the project progresses, the goals will come to light and development can easily adapt to these evolving requirements. Faster, high quality delivery. Breaking down the project into iterations allows the team to focus on high quality development, testing, and collaboration. Since testing is conducted during each iteration, the defects get identified and solved more quickly. And this high quality software can be delivered faster with consistent, successive iterations. Strong team interaction. Agile highlights the importance of frequent communication and face to face interactions. Teams work together and people are able to take responsibility and own parts of the projects. Customers are heard. Customers have many opportunities to see the work being delivered, share their input, and have a real impact on the end product. They can gain a sense of ownership by working so closely with the project teams. Continuous improvement. Agile projects encourage feedback from users and team members throughout the whole project. So lessons learned are used to improve future iterations. While the level of flexibility in Agile is usually a positive, it also comes with some trade offs. Here are some of the disadvantages of Agile. Planning can be less concrete. It can sometimes be hard to pin down a solid delivery date because Agile is based on time box delivery and project managers are often reprioritizing the tasks. It's possible that some items originally scheduled for a delivery may not be complete in time, and additional sprints may be added at any time in the project, adding to the overall timeline. Team must be knowledgeable. Agile teams are usually small, so team members must be highly skilled in a variety of areas. They also must understand and feel comfortable with the chosen Agile methodology. Time commitment from developers. Agile is most successful when the development team is completely dedicated to the project. Documentation can be neglected. The Agile Manifesto prefers working software over comprehensive documentation. So some team members may feel like it's not necessary to do the comprehensive documentation. So Agile teams should find the right balance between documentation and discussion. Final product can be very different. The initial Agile product might not have a definitive plan. So the final product can look much different than what was initially intended. Because Agile is so flexible, new iterations may be added based on evolving customer feedback, which can lead to a very different final deliverable. The differences between Waterfall methodology versus Agile can be summed up in two words: rigid versus flexible. Waterfall is a much stricter, rigid process, whereas Agile is flexible and continuously evolving. Here is more on the differences. Waterfall is sequential, and Agile doesn't enforce a linear process. Waterfall is a structured process where you can't start on a new phase until the previous one has been completed. On the other hand, Agile is a flexible process, allowing you to move through the project as you like. In waterfall projects, you can't change things that were done in previous stages, whereas Agile is very accommodating to changes. Waterfall projects usually include defined requirements in advance, whereas requirements are expected to change and evolve in Agile projects. At the end of the day, they both want to deliver quality products in an efficient way. So, waterfall or agile? When deciding between agile versus waterfall, it can all boil down to this. If you anticipate or expect any changes throughout the project, go with agile. If you know the project is fixed, unchanging, and predictable, waterfall may be a better choice. So, as you can see here, in waterfall, you have a design and you deliver that at the end. That's when you have your final product. In Agile, for every iteration, you have something usable. And finally, at the end, you have the final product. Questions for you all. Which methodologies have you used at work and which one you think worked best for your industry? Any experience with Agile Waterfall hybrid approach? Do you have any important lessons learned from the Agile project that you want to share that might help others in their projects at work? Last question. What do you think the role of existing managers with Agile transformation, especially the technical managers and team leads? Do you see lots of conflicts in responsibilities between Agile roles and the traditional leadership roles? These are some of the references that I have used. Thank you for watching the presentation.